Welcome to Eight Limbs. Today we have a very special guest, Sabrina Mignacca. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correct. Was that correct?
Mignacca, but yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. She is a pit bull advocate and dog trainer from Montreal, Canada, and we're going to be having a conversation today in regards to the recent pit bull legislation that are banning certain types of dogs. Welcome to Eight Limbs, Sabrina. How are you tonight?
Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, please tell the listening audience, what your experience is with training and advocacy, and how this all started for you.
Yeah. So basically, I started volunteering at a shelter in 2013 at the Montreal SPCA, which basically got me into training and dog behavior. So I started an internship here in Montreal on animal behavior, and since then I've gone into the Academy for Dog Trainers. I'm currently in my third semester, so hopefully I'll be done this year.
Nice. That's great.
Yep.
Awesome. So let me see. Now, what type of dogs are you a guardian for? What are your dogs in your home?
So currently I have two dogs that would be considered pit bull type dogs under Montreal's legislation. I don't know what they really are, though, but
okay,
that's
so
what they're considered here.
You have mixed breed dogs, yet they are possibly or they are definitely affected by the ban?
So I have yet to register them. One will more than likely be affected by the ban. I have until March 31st to apply for my pit bull license, and we do have this really strange ID clinic where they kind of just measure your dog's legs and watch how they walk, and it just seems made up on the spot. So we'll see if my second dog passes or not. I don't know.
Okay, so we have city officials, I would imagine, some type of animal control officer doing tests based on phenotypes, on measurements to decide if your dog is a pit bull or not.
Yeah, so they're not really even telling us what the requirements are or what they're basing it on. Originally, it was from what the CTC, staff measurements and things like that were for basically shows.
Okay.
But it's not really clear. Everyone has different stories. So some people go and the people are looking at whether your dog's forehead is wrinkled, and then other people are having their dog's legs measured. So it's really different for everyone's experience, and there aren't really any
so there's no strict criteria. They're just sort of
No, it kind of just seems made up.
Yeah, and that's what worries me about this type of thing, is that it is made up.
Definitely.
Now, one of the next episode that I am going to release for Eight Limbs, one of the topics I discuss is, what actually is a pit, quote unquote, bulldog, and we can get into that a little bit later. I'm sure we'll talk again because I want to know what's going on with the situation in Montreal. So. Now, have you always been an advocate for pit bulls or pit bull type dogs, or is this recent incident that led to the BSL in Montreal, was that the catalyst?
No, it's definitely been at least since I got my first dog, Milo, so at least since 2013. I had always kind of wanted a pit bull growing up, and my parents weren't into that idea at all. I didn't really know anything about them as a kid. I just thought they were cute. So when I moved out, I ended up adopting my first dog. And ever since, it's just been pit bull advocacy, basically immediately.
Yeah, that's what I always tell, my dog training clients, that if you have a pit bull or even a dog like a Rottweiler, or even a Doberman, and depending on the audience, you're going to have to be an advocate for your dog, but especially if you have, a pit bull or a bully breed dog or any dog that somebody,
definitely.
you automatically, and I give you credit for not shying away from that, and like you say, just sort of jumping right in. That's amazing, because we definitely need new people. It's good.
Oh no, it's just I got my dog, and it was just kind of I had to show everyone how amazing pit bulls were, and it was even my parents who were always against it. As soon as they met him, my mom ended up coming with me to Washington, D.C. a couple of years ago when there was the 1 million pit bull march. So even at that, my parents ended up totally switching over, and everyone who's met Milo. So that's
good. Well,
rewarding.
we got to have everybody. Now,
Exactly.
even the people who don't have dogs. So now it's been reported that the dog in this incident in Montreal was a boxer. Now, but with all the information you have, you're obviously in the shelter scene, and you have dogs. Is that true? Was this dog definitely ID'd as a boxer?
So the thing is, we still don't have a positive ID on the dog. The dog was registered as a boxer with the city, but there's never been any photos released. The police, a couple of months later, came out saying that they weren't dog breed experts, so that they couldn't actually ID what dog breed had attacked or not. So really, we don't know. The city is just saying it's a pit bull. The media says it's a pit bull, but the identification with the city says boxer. And then the police who are on scene say they can't actually ID the breed.
They can't. The police can't ID the dog.
No, originally they had said it was a pit bull, and then afterwards they said they weren't breed experts.
And this is the problem, is that, and we're going to, we're not going to, trash the Montreal police. I don't live in Montreal, and, I give them credit for being honest, and, possibly the dog is a pit mix or is a boxer. We, so far no one knows, but, the news media that I saw in America, I heard boxer. I didn't hear pit bull. So, I knew that Montreal was moving to ban pit bulls, but when I investigated the story, the media had reported a boxer. And I think the real takeaway here is that that's the problem, is saying something.
Yeah, exactly.
And just the cops, or the police officers, I know they don't like to be referred to as cops, but the law enforcement should have just said, well, we don't know what kind of dog it was. It was a brown and white dog, or whatever the dog's coloring was, but left breed out of it. At least then okay, it's a brown and white dog, and it looked like it was this big. That's general information that is pertinent for whatever reason. But in today's climate, having a label on the dog is dangerous, and this is what it led to. Now, how has life been since the ban has been in place? I mean, what are people? We know people are required to go down and register their dogs, and they're going to be measured by or judged on some shaky criteria. But how has this how has this affected the city?
It's definitely stressful, I would say. You automatically now you have to muzzle your dog as you walk down the street. He has to be on a 4-foot leash. They have to wear a harness. If your backyard has a fence that's under 6 feet, then he has to wear the harness, the leash, and the muzzle in the yard. You have to pass a criminal background check to keep your dog. So even that is it's stressful for a lot of people because it ends up being really costly. So we have the homeless or the low income who they don't know if they can keep their dog. They don't know if they can meet all the requirements, because even just the license to keep your dog is $150, where as normally registering your dog is between $25 to $60 if your dog is sterilized. It's cheaper. And basically we have to have the dogs sterilized and microchipped, which I think is a great idea, of course, but it has to be done by June. So for people who don't have a lot of money, it's a lot in one shot. So it's stressful on that part. It's stressful just having a dog, basically, if you have a pit bull. And also it seems like a lot of people aren't really, I don't know, they're not really muzzling their dogs so much. So the people who do, you get really weird looks.
Right. And we know from being, trainers and working with dogs that, not every dog will take kindly to the muzzle. And even if you counter,
for sure.
Yeah. And even if you counter condition the dog and you break it down and you get them used to it, it still may be stressful at times for the dog to have their main appendage caged.
Well, that's the thing. I've been training my dog since July, knowing that it was a possibility. And they began to really love their muzzle, but now that they have to wear their muzzle on every walk, for example, Ivy's getting like a callus on her nose and it starts to bleed. So I actually have to figure out whether I'm going to have to pad the muzzle or get a new type of muzzle.
Right. And again, it's, it's also, you're obviously a responsible dog guardian, and you're, a trainer in training and working with dogs at shelters. So for you, this is integrated into your life. If you just take, the average family in Montreal that has a pit bull dog or a pit bull type dog, or a dog that they are being affected by this ban based on their looks, they have to find somebody who can help them desensitize the muzzle if that's something they even know about, and they'll probably just
exactly.
like you said, they'll just leave it on the counter, or it'll just sit in the drawer because the dog doesn't like it, and I'm only bringing him for a 10-minute walk before I go to work, and then he's going to be home all day, and then I'll walk him later at night. So it kind of ends up being like in America, like a jaywalking is like if you cross the street in the middle and you don't use the crosswalk, you know, and everybody does it because they're like, well, what cop is going to give me unless I'm really running in front of traffic, they don't care. I'll take my risk. So a lot of these things that associate to bans and that get included for dog guardians to do are just not effective. So are there any measures or anything in the works to overturn or step up education for dog owners and just the general public to sort of combat this?
Well, we're really lucky that the Montreal SPCA has really been fighting this. So currently they're in court. Originally, they had got the ban kind of like on a halt, but then the city brought the SPCA to court to overturn that. So the ban is instated right now, but because the Montreal SPCA is still in court with them, they're not actually technically allowed to euthanize any dogs for, let's say, not having a muzzle or a 4-foot leash or things like that.
Okay, so are they just going to tax people? So if their animal control officer or a police officer was so motivated to give someone some comeuppance, it would be a ticket?
Yeah, they're pretty hefty. They're about $500 to $600.
Jeez,
so you don't really want it.
Yeah, that sounds like it's more than the fencing and the muzzling and everything that you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really expensive. We also have another group, what is their name? They're the Coalition for Safety for People and Canines. So basically, it's a group of animal behaviorists, vets, trainers. We have some really good, like, prominent Quebec lawyers who are constitutional lawyers on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Well,
biologists.
Excuse me. I'm sorry I cut you off. What did you say?
Oh, no, I was just saying there's also sociologists and biologists in the group.
Well, that's great.
So they're a group working together to also bring not only the pit bull part to court, but the whole new Montreal bylaw, because Montreal, when they made the pit bull bylaw, they also added a bunch of other things for animal control. So they're bringing the whole law to court.
Yeah, they do that all the time whenever they pass legislation. They sneak stuff in. And that's another dangerous reason, and I don't know if you're aware of the discussions here in the New York area. There was an incident, and there was talk of having dog trainers be licensed, and passing legislation.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and my first show was about that, and it's whenever you include the government in anything that has to do with behavior or training, it becomes sketchy because I can't trust that they'll ever do the right thing. But it sounds like the group that you have formed is the exact kind of group we need in every city is scientists and behaviorists and lawyers, and that's the combination.
Exactly.
And I've often said I've been doing pit bull advocacy since 2003, 2004, and really got hardcore after I graduated from the academy in 2007. But I often tell people that this is a behavior issue, whether it's making sure your dog is trained to maintain properly and socialize properly. That's all human behavior. And, also making sure that people are doing the right things by, spaying and neutering dogs and keeping them on leash.
Oh, exactly.
There's so many basic educational things that, people could get for free. Now, in general, is Montreal, would you say it's a dog-friendly city? I mean, where I live in the town of Red Bank, New Jersey, I would say it's a very dog-friendly part of New Jersey. People love dogs here. So what's Montreal like with that?
I would say maybe about a year ago it was like a little bit dog-friendly. Ever since the pit bull ban and all of the new Montreal bylaws, I would say it's definitely not dog-friendly at all. I mean, everyone should be registering their dogs, but for example, if you don't register your dog, it's about a $600 fine right away. There's no warning. We don't have very many good dog parks. A lot of the dog parks have holes in the fences. We don't have any. Sorry?
I was going to say dog parks in general are a really bad idea. I mean, it's...
No, I know, but...
I hear you, but it's...
We don't get anything from it. They try to tell us that the money is from the registration will go into animal services type of thing, but we don't actually get anything out of it. So I wouldn't consider it dog friendly. And most parks that you go to, most areas that you go to, you're not actually allowed to have a dog.
Okay. All right. Well, that's indicative of probably why this, caught fire so quickly with the politicians. I wish you guys the best. So what is the best approach for people to address the Montreal government that are looking to, keep this ban in place? Can you please mention the group that you're working with again, and any other avenues that people could take to approach the government and help them overturn this ban?
Yep. So right now, the two groups that are working against, we're removing the ban basically, are the Montreal SPCA. And then we have the Coalition to Promote Safety of People and Canines. So both of these groups would be really good groups to either donate or help work with, so that they can help overturn the ban in court. We also have the Montreal 375th birthday coming up. So if people want to write to politicians, either saying that they'll boycott the party because if their dog's not welcome, they're not welcome. Basically, just that's what we have going on right now. People trying to say that they won't visit, or helping these groups continue to fight in court.
Do you know roughly how many registered dog owners there are in Montreal?
We've always had a really big problem with dog registering. Basically, nobody ever did it. So I think they were saying only about 20% of dogs were registered to begin with. I don't know what the actual number of dogs was.
And that's another reason, why it's good to, I'm a big fan of people registering their dogs and microchipping their dogs, simply because if anything ever happened and your dog was separated from you in some kind of natural disaster or fire or some, crazy event like that, and
for sure,
you could find your dog because they would be microchipped, and if they were safe in a shelter somewhere or in some kind of holding place, you could search and find your dog, or they could bring the dog to you, so I'm a big fan of that. In America, there's roughly, the last number I heard was 77 million people have registered dogs in the United States. That's a huge voting block. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that all 77 million people are going to come out and vote on issues, but even a third of those people, weighing in on something on social media. And again, we all know, we live in that day and age where if things are happening on Twitter and Facebook and so forth, so that's why I'm doing the show with you, hoping to get that word out. And I'm, looking to do this for any other place that, has dogs that are banned or newly banned. So, thank you so much for speaking about this. It's nice to actually have a nice, sober, cogent conversation with somebody who lives in Montreal, who has pit bull type dogs and is, dealing with this every day. I wish you all the best in the academy. I know it's a tough course, but you said, where are you now? What year are you in?
I'm a junior, so I'm in my third.
All right, good. You're almost there. Home stretch.
Yeah.
Finish line in sight. Well, I'm rooting for you. Sabrina, say your last name one more time and where people can get a hold of you if they want your help.
Mignacca.
Okay, Sabrina, thank you so much for speaking to me on 8 Limbs today. I'm your host, Drayton Michaels. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on 8 Limbs. Take care.